What's up, everybody? So, today I am back with a new video. It's been a while. I think was thinking of going in a different direction than I have in my past videos. Um, I'm a WWE fan, so I thought I'd make some videos about that. And here we are with WWE 2K23 men's roster predictions. So I'm going to be ranking this by 5 categories: Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Legends, and DLCs. And remember, this is not official. This is not, well, technically rumored. This is just my opinion of who I think might be in the game. Some of these people might not, and there might be some other people that I didn't include that get in. You never know with 2K. Okay, so let's start off with Raw. The first person is AJ Styles. Obviously, this man has been in WWE for almost 7 years. And I think he's going to be a 91 overall. That's about where he's been in past other games. So I think it's going to stay because he's still pretty valued in the WWE. Next up, questionable, but he's sometimes featured on WWE TV, and at the same time, he's also on their roster and been in a lot of their games. So I think somehow Kirikizawa is going to wiggle his way into this game with a 76 overall because he can't win. Next up is Angelo Dawkins of the Street Profits. He's ranked at an 82 in my book for overall because we've only seen him in the tag team division. We haven't really seen him by himself. So, plus the Street Profits haven't been doing much of lately. Like, they've been featured on TV like every few weeks, but they're not picking up as much wins as they used to. Next up is Austin Theory. Okay. So, I think in the game, he's going to be the United States champion because as of the game's release, which is rumored to be about in March, I don't see him losing the title until at least WrestleMania. So I think he's going to be the U.S. champion. And the reason why he's a 90 overall is because in the past months, he's been doing a lot. He's been picking up wins against Bobby Lashley and Seth Rollins as of late, so he's ranked up at a 90. It could be, probably will be lower, but you never know. That's just what I think. Next up is Baron Corbin, an 82 overall in my book. And that's because we haven't seen him on TV in like months. Like he came back with JBL, but he hasn't really done anything at all since then. Like he faced Akira, but like that's bad. Did he face Akira? I don't know. Yeah, so that's why he's in 82. He's just like not an insanely great wrestler, I guess. So he's not featured at all. Next up is Bobby Lashley, the Almighty. Feel like he's going to be a 91, which is what he was in 2K22. I just feel like he's been stuck in like a weird loop as of late. He's been facing like Austin Theory and Seth Rollins and that kind of stuff, but at the same time, he had this whole feud with Omos, and now he's whatever he's doing in the past few weeks is just like not enough to be higher than that, but it's still a really high overall. And we have Brock Lesnar. So obviously he's going to be one of the highest ranked overalls in the entire game. He's basically always been that in WWE games. He's the beast, and he's been on a roll Well, he's always been on a roll. Like, he's very high valued and put in very high profile matches. Yes, that's why he's in 93, which is not going to be the highest, at least for men's. Cedric Alexander. What has this guy been doing on TV as of late? Having Hurt Business cameos, but he's not been doing anything. Nope. So that's why he's 78. Plus, even if he is on TV, he usually loses. Chad Gable. I think he's an 82 because he's been actually in some pretty decent matches as of late. Like with AJ Styles and such. So that's why I think he's an 82, and he's pretty charismatic on the mic. Cody Rhodes. I feel like this is a little too ambitious since he only had a few matches, but that's not his fault. I think he's gonna be a 94. It's probably gonna be lower than that, which it probably will. But if you beat Seth Rollins clean 3 times in a row, as Seth Rollins is one of the biggest in the entire business, that's a big win. And to do it 3 times, he's already like on the track to winning the Royal Rumble and going to WrestleMania. So by the time of the release, I feel like he's gonna be in the title picture big time. Next is Commander Aziz. Is he even in this company anymore? I think he's going to be the lowest rated if he's in the game. I mean, they had him last year, but he's only showed up for a few cameos with Apollo Crews. But since Apollo Crews left for NXT, this man hasn't shown up at all. So that's why he's ranked as a 74, if he's even going to be in the game, which hopefully not. Damian Priest. He's been having a pretty big push as of late. He's been in big matches with Finn Balor and Edge. Well, the Finn Balor one was a while ago, but he's been in the Judgment Day for a while, and that's been a pretty big staple on Monday Night Raw. So he's racking up a lot of wins, and that's why he's in 86. Dexter Lumis. I don't think it's an 86. I think that's a typo. I meant 84, but he's come back and he's not really done much, but he's looks like he's on the track to being put in high profile matches. Like he hasn't really lost clean yet. The one against The Miz wasn't really clean because he kind of got tsunami'd. And next up, Dolph Ziggler. You know, the past few games he hasn't been doing so hot, but this year has been a pretty good year for him. He came back to NXT a while ago and he won the championship. And then when he lost it, he came back to Monday Night Raw and he was in this little feud with Austin Theory, and he's been putting on actually like really good matches with them. So that's why I think he's going to be an 86. Dominic Mysterio. I want to put him lower because I don't think he's that good at all. But they're pushing him. He's in the Judgment Day somehow, and he's in a feud with his father. But he hasn't been doing much matches as of late, unless it's a 3-on-3 match with like the OC or whatever. But he is usually the one that gets pinned when it comes to those matches. Dominic Dijakovic. I don't know what his new name is, and I couldn't find a picture of his new attire. But this man is a star. And I think WWE and Triple H needs to realize that and push him to the moon. If you've seen his in-ring work when it's not T-Bar, NXT, him versus Keith Lee, this man deserves to be an 88. If he's not, probably an 86. Edge. I'd put him a little bit higher, but he's been losing somewhat to the Judgment Day as of late and hasn't racked up as much wins, but he's still a very high valued wrestler. So that's basically why he'd be a 91, which is what he's been in past WWE games as well. So I think it's going to stay that way. Elias. I think he's going to be an 80 just for the plain fact he's not that talented on the ring, nor the mic. The mic is decent, but he hasn't done anything. Nothing at all, really. He's been, I don't know the last time he won a match at all since his return. And if he did, it was a tag team match with Riddle. Finn Balor. I think he's going to be a 91. He's been probably on one of the biggest roles in comebacks of 2022. At the beginning, he was a jobber who had the United States title who lost to Austin Theory easily. And then he came back and he joined the Judgment Day. And he's been doing the best work of probably his entire career. And he hasn't lost much at all. Because he's a very high valued wrestler by Triple H. And that's why he's being pushed to the moon right now. Johnny Gargano. I'm questioning this because I feel like he could be a star and he could be an 86. I just don't know what the 2K is doing. They have very questionable overall choices. They put Randy as an 88 while they put Hulk Hogan as a 91 in last game. So I don't know what they're doing. So I feel like he has the potential to be an 86. And he's pretty good in the ring. Carl Anderson. I think he's also an 86. You'll see this is a little bit higher than Luke Gallows because I feel like Carl Anderson is the main star of the Good Brothers. I mean, he won whatever New Japan Pro Wrestling Championship. I don't think Luke Gallows won that. I mean, they're a really good team together, but I feel like Carl Anderson is just like a better wrestler. Next up, Kevin Owens. He's being pushed to the moon as well as the prize fighter. Since he's come back, he hasn't been in any ridiculous feuds with Ezekiel like he was. It's great to see him, and he's been doing amazing work against the Bloodline, and that's why he's going to be a 90. Luke Gallows. As I just said, Carl Anderson, I feel like is more of a star and better wrestler than Luke Gallows, so that's why he's a little bit higher. But the Good Brothers are a really good tag team, so that's why I ranked them somewhere close to equal. Matt Riddle. I think he's going to be an 88 for the sole reason of the Seth Rollins feud. After that, it's completely fallen flat. He failed a drug test. He's been in a tag team with Elias and doing a stupid bongo thing. But when he was in a feud against Seth Rollins, that was the Matt Riddle we all wanted to see, and we got it. And then at Extreme Rules, he won that fight pit match. So that's against Seth Rollins. So that's why he could be a pretty high-ranked wrestler. Montez Ford. 84. He's higher than Angelo Dawkins because I feel like this is, again, the same thing that one wrestler in a tag team is more of a star than the other one. And that's Montez Ford. This man is great in the ring and is going to be pretty big one day. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Mustafa Ali. I think he's also somewhere around an 84. I mean, they're pushing him as of late ish. They had him infused with like Bobby Lashley and Seth Rollins and Austin Theory and all of that. So that's why I'd put him as an 84. MVP. The reason I'm putting him at an 80 is because he hasn't done any wrestling really. And if he's ever in the ring as a wrestler, it's enhancement talent against probably Bobby Lashley. Nothing else to say. He doesn't wrestle. He's just a manager. Mainly. Omos. I think the only reason I would put him as an 80 is because I'm thinking what 2K would think. Is they'd put him higher, but I wouldn't. He's not good in the ring and he's very not charismatic. Not a good wrestler in general, so I feel like he should not be that high of a overall. But of course, they're gonna rank him higher because he's a big man and he's squashing local talent. Otis. I think he'd be an 82, also for the sole reason that he's a big man. And WWE and basically all wrestling companies like that. End of story. Not much to say. R-Truth. 78. That's because he never wins. He was in the 24/7 title picture for like almost 3 years. And that's all he did on TV as a comedy character. There's nothing else he did. And yeah. Next up, Randy Orton. I would put him at 91, but I feel like he deserves so much better. Like, the work he does, he's one of the most charismatic and best on the mic. He's also one of the best wrestlers in the company, and he's been here for 2 decades. 20 years. And he's still fighting, and he's still one of the best and most well-known wrestlers in the entire world. So that's why I'd put him as a 92. Robert Roode. I feel like he could be very good. I mean, his work in NXT was pretty good. He was getting pretty highly pushed, but he hasn't been on television other than to be with Dolph Ziggler, and that even then he hasn't shown up since like April. So that's why I put him as an 84. Seth Rollins. This man is the GOAT of wrestling. Like, every single time he wrestles, he gets better. He's probably the best on the microphone in the entire business. He's so good at mind games, and he's so good in the ring, and he deserves a championship. And even without a championship, he's still one of the best. So that's why I think he'd be a 93. Shelton Benjamin. You know, this is kind of the same tobacco as Cedric Alexander, except Shelton Benjamin is just better. He's been showing up on TV decently. Like, he had a few little matches with, like, Austin Theory and such, but other than that, he hasn't shown up on TV, and even if he did, was an enhancement talent. The Miz. He's very charismatic and very good on the microphone, but I feel like he just gets, like, really highly pushed, and he's been in pretty big matches. At the beginning of the year, he had a little feud with Edge, and he's been feuding with Dexter Lumis and many other pretty big names like Logan Paul. Titus O'Neil, I feel like is gonna wiggle his way into here. I feel like the only reason that is because he's been in most of the WWE games since like I don't know 2K17, 2K16, 18, somewhere around that. And they still list him as in the company, and he has been showing up in recent games. So, but I don't feel like he's gonna be high overall at all. Tommaso Ciampa. I feel like the reason why I'd put him at an 88 is, and probably not a little bit lower, is he was in a pretty good. He's been in good matches. His little group with the Miz sucks. The group. He won against AJ Styles and then had a good match with Bobby Lashley. Ignore the gray hair on his face; it looks noticeable. But he is a very good wrestler and dominated NXT for years. Triple H. I'd say the same thing for him as I did about Randy Orton. They're so well known and so good on the ring and the microphone that they deserve so much. And this man recently retired and is making very good booking in this company. That's not why. Okay, next one. Now we're on to SmackDown. First up, somehow he's still in the company, Angel Garza. He hasn't done anything. If he's even in the company anymore, he is probably next to be released. So that's why he's a 79. Ashante Adonis. He is one part of Hit Row. And Hit Row's been getting a decent push as of late. They were in a recent little match with the Usos for the SmackDown Universal, Undisputed Tag Team Championship, whatever they're called. So yeah. Biggie. He hasn't been getting enough respect. He's a very good in-ring worker, and his WWE Championship reign fell flat. And he should have been higher overalls, but all I can put him at is an 88. Braun Strowman, the same thing. He's not very good in the ring at all. He kind of sucks in the ring, actually, but the whole big man thing, and he's having a feud with the IC champion Gunther. Yeah. Bray Wyatt. I know we've only seen him wrestle against Jinder Mahal, but you already know he's gonna be pushed pretty hard. Bray Wyatt as an enhancement talent or losing is a sight that I can't envision. So I feel like he's gonna be having a pretty decent push. He's gonna be that person where if you win against him, then that's gonna be a big beat. Butch. The work that he's been doing with the Brawling Brutes has actually been pretty good. He's also a very good in-ring worker. I would like to see him transition into the Pete Dunne role rather than Butch. And more as a single star than a tag team with Ridge Holland, but he's doing pretty good work. Cruz del Toro. If you don't know who this is, he is one part of Legado del Fantasma. They've been getting a decent push as of late, but the only star of that group is Santos Escobar. The other two are kind of just side pieces, at least in my opinion. Oh. Sorry about that. Skip to the end. Drew McIntyre. Obviously, this man should be the champion right now, but obviously they're going all in with this Rock versus Roman needs to be a title match. Drew McIntyre is a very good in-ring wrestler and is so amazing in the ring. That's why I think he's a 92 rather than a 91 like everyone else. Eric. In past games, he hasn't been rated well, but I feel like the Viking Raiders they're getting a pretty good push right now. They're being positioned as huge stars on the SmackDown brand. So, yep. Giovanni Vinci. I think he's going to be an 86 for the sole purpose that if you've seen his NXT days, he was such a good wrestler in the NXT 2.0 ring, and he can do great things when it comes to either the United States or possibly an Intercontinental Championship run. Hopefully he does not stay in the tag team division forever, but even then, he's still one of the best. Gunther. This man has been wrecking the SmackDown everyone. He's putting on bangers with Sheamus and the rest of the Brawling Brutes, and basically anyone he steps into the ring to, he can make magic. That's why I think he could be a 90. This is the same thing as Angel Garza. Humberto Carrillo, he's a decent in-ring wrestler, but he hasn't done anything at all in the WWE. Ivar, same thing as Eric. They're getting pushed as one part of the Viking Raiders. Jey Uso. 87, because the Usos are one of the, if not the greatest WWE tag team as of right now. They're making magic in the ring and as part of the bloodline. Jimmy Uso. So if you'll notice, I put Jey Uso a little bit higher because the right-hand man, Jey Uso, he made, this is more focused on the 2020 little feud with Roman Reigns that I'm basing that off. Plus, at the beginning of 2021, he was in pretty big feuds, little mini feuds with Daniel Bryan and Edge, who he had pretty good matches with. Jinder Mahal. This man is a jobber at heart. He hasn't done anything in the WWE, and he's the definition of an enhancement talent. Point stated. Joaquin Wilde. Same thing as Cruz del Toro, one part of the Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar as Mara Star. John Cena. This man's a living legend. He can do great things and has been putting on great matches for 20 years. Karrion Kross. I think he could be a 90 overall because he was in a pretty high profile feud with Drew McIntyre. And essentially, he beat Drew McIntyre. Well, it may not have been clean, but he was still positioned as a beast. And I hope it stays that way in the near future. One half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, Kofi Kingston, is an 86. I would rate him higher because he's such a great in-ring wrestler, but he hasn't done very much as of late. So that's why he remains at an 86. LA Knight. This man has been getting an immense push. He's in a pretty good, confusing at the same time, rivalry with Bray Wyatt. And if you have gone from new person to Bray Wyatt feuder, then you know he's gonna get a good push. Logan Paul. I think he's also gonna be an 88 because Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul, literally every match he has had, he's made is so great, and he's such a great in-ring wrestler, and he can put on spectacles with literally anyone he steps in the ring with. And that's even more shocking because everyone just expected for him to be a regular celebrity, but he's actually great. Ludwig Kaiser. I think he could be an 85. I think he's decent in the ring, and Imperium are dominating SmackDown. I don't remember how to say his name. I'm just gonna say Masi. 82. Big man. He hasn't done anything in WWE, really. Madcap Moss. I think he's gonna be an 84 because, he got a small little push against Baron Corbin. He's been facing like Karrion Kross as of late and been weird. I don't know what he's doing anymore feuds, but he's pretty good in the ring. Okay. Mansois. Same thing. I just feel like they're better than average, but they're not very good. Rey Mysterio. In past games, he's been rated as like 91s and the 90s and all of that. I don't think so. He seemingly can't win any matches anymore. And yeah, in general, he just seems like an enhancement talent and is not as important in the WWE as he once, or in the past few years, even has. Rick Boogs. This guy showed up in the last game. He's pretty good in the ring, and yeah, not much to say because we haven't seen much from him as whatever injury happened at WrestleMania 38. Ricochet has been enjoying a very good push by Triple H. He won the IC Championship, and that reign fell a little flat, but in recent times he's been in a little feud with Gunther and parts of the Imperium, and he's so good in the ring, and that's all I have to say about him. Ridge Holland, same treatment as Butch. They're pretty good wrestlers, and he has some sort of charisma. Not much to say because he's a little bit reckless in the ring, as you have seen by the multiple and many injuries he has caused to people, aka Big E and a few people in NXT. So I just don't feel like he's that great in the ring. And the highest overall wrestler, obviously, Roman Reigns. This man is the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. He's holding both of the World Championships, and he has not lost anything. Like, if he ever loses a match, it's been because of disqualification or because it was a tag team match and he wasn't pinned. And he's doing magic as a heel. All to say. Sami Zayn, basically the same thing as everyone else in the bloodline. They're getting a huge push, and he is rumored to face Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber. Santos Escobar. He's higher than all the other people of Legado del Fantasma because, again, he's this true star of the Fantasma group. And no one else is as good as him in that group. And he also made it to, like, whatever finals to almost face Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Next up, Sheamus. He's been putting on bangers. Like, him versus literally anyone in the Imperium. Brawling Brutes Imperium was such a great feud. Like, basically one of the matches of 2022 was Sheamus versus Gunther. Shinsuke Nakamura. I would rate him higher because I feel like he was getting a decent teeny little push, but he hasn't shown up on TV in months. So that would be my complaint. Plus, I'm pretty sure he lost to Santos Escobar on his debut. Solo Sikoa. This man is dominant. When I say dominant, I mean dominating any brand he steps onto. Like, he could win any title, most titles in a flash. Go on to NXT, he won the North American Championship effortlessly. Could do the same with the NXT or maybe even the Intercontinental. Not effortlessly, but he's doing pretty good. And he's getting a nice push as probably the second highest rated superstar of the bloodline. Top Dollar. They like position him as better than Ashante. He's also like a better star of the Hit Row. Yeah, I'm just thinking about his botch on SmackDown. Xavier Woods. The New Day deserves so much. They're so good in the ring, but they just don't get a great push. And now of late they've been facing Pretty Deadly on NXT, which they won the NXT Tag Team Championships from, but we haven't seen them wrestle very much anymore. Okay, next up, NXT. This is going to be a pretty good, decent list of people because we got no one from NXT 2.0 last year. Like, almost nobody. Yeah. So, I'm really hoping for WWE 2K23 to have a lot of NXT 2.0. Well, it's not 2.0 anymore. NXT stars. First up, Apollo Crews. He's not new, but he's doing pretty good on NXT in recent months. He faced Braun Breaker, he's been facing Grayson Waller and all these people, and he's been doing pretty good, and he hasn't been, like, losing. Getting a nice push there. Axiom. For you people who don't know, this is a kid as basically a pushed star. He's getting a nice push on the brand, and he's racking up decent wins, and he's such a great in-ring talent. And that's why I'd rate him as an 84. Ignore the 76. I meant 88. Yeah, Braun Breaker is an 88, is what I meant. He's dominating NXT. Even though his title reign hasn't been the best, it's still been pretty dominant for him since the day he stepped in to NXT. Next up, Brutus Creed. One half of the Creed brothers of Diamond Mine. He's overshadowed by his brother. He's not as good in the ring as his brother, and Julius is the truest star of the group. So that's why I feel like Brutus is an 82. Cameron Grimes. He hasn't been featured as much on TV anymore, but he was a pretty good in-ring wrestler. He won the NXT North American Championship earlier this year, and it wasn't long, but he enjoyed a decent title run and has been pretty protected. Carmelo Hayes. Arguably one of the greatest wrestlers on the entire NXT brand. Since the day he stepped down, he's been making magic with people like Ricochet and literally beating almost everyone that there is to beat. Drew Gulak. This one's questionable because I don't know whether he's on SmackDown or NXT. He's been showing up on NXT now, so I'm just gonna say he's there. But he hasn't really done anything as of late, so that's why. Duke Hudson. This man was put in a little feud against Cameron Grimes, and now he's in whatever Chase U stuff he's doing now. He's been admiring a decent push in the brand, but hasn't achieved as much as maybe he should or maybe he shouldn't. Grayson Waller. This man is so charismatic and he's so good in the ring. The day he stepped in to the company, sorry for that. This company in NXT, he's been dominating and he's been so good, and I hope he wins the title at New Year's Evil. Ilya Dragunov. He was positioned as a megastar when everything went down. Basically, he beat Walter, aka Gunther, for the UK Championship. And Walter was like the most dominant of all time in NXT UK. Other than that, he got injured and came back, but he hasn't really showed up in any other matches other than to challenge for the NXT Championship. JD McDonough, otherwise known as Jordan Devlin. He's been doing pretty good. He's been enjoying a nice push facing Braun Breaker every single week. That's all I have to say. Joe Gacy. He's also been facing Braun Breaker for the title. He's in this weird schism group now, so he's not the greatest in the ring, but he can put on decent matches. I don't know what he's doing anymore. Julius Creed. This man is the GOAT. The GOAT. The star of the Creed brothers, and he's gonna be a star one day. A champion. Maybe not world champion, but he's gonna be a champion. So all I have to say, he shouldn't be in the tag team division much longer. He's been in recent times in little singles matches against like Damon Kemp or whatever at Halloween Havoc, who is not going to show up in this game, I don't think. Roderick Strong. I put him as an 84 because he hasn't been winning as much. He's been out with an injury for a few months, and he hasn't done... Even before that, he was losing a lot of matches against people like Tony D'Angelo and Legato. Speaking of which, Tony D'Angelo. He's been getting a nice push in the company. He's been beating a lot of stars. He basically sent Tommaso Ciampa packing to the main roster because he beat him. Whether it's fair or not, he's still a decent in-ring wrestler who's been enjoying a pretty big push. Tyler Bate. Again, probably one of the biggest stars to come out of NXT UK from the men's side. He's so good in the ring, and he's really over, and people are really behind him. Von Wagner. He's been in the company for a decent while, since like the beginning of NXT 2.0. So I feel like he's going to appear in the game. I just don't feel like he's going to be a very high overall because he hasn't been doing much of late. Wesley, the NXT North American Champion. I think he's going to be an 86 because he's been getting a nice push as of late. He's been beating Kamala Hayes, and he's positioned to face Dijak, aka Dominic Dijakovic. Yeah. Next up, we got the legend section. So I don't know really who's going to appear here because I don't know every single legend that has stepped in, and the internet isn't helpful. But these are just what I think are the people that are going to show up. Booker T. If you don't know who Booker T is, he is a multiple time world champion. Basically, most of these people have been world champion before. Not all, most. But Booker T is just really good. No questions. Ted DiBiase. He's just like a legend that has been showing up in most games. Yeah. $1 Million Man. The Ultimate Warrior. He's been showing up in like every single WWE game for a while now. Yeah, he's won multiple world championships. X-Pac. Wait, did I miss someone? Nope, X-Pac. Of Degeneration X. I put him as an 86 and not higher because I feel like he was overshadowed by the people named Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I'm starting to think that I should have put Triple H into the Legends category. It's just that he's been competing. He competed in like 2020, so that's like, I don't know. Ron Simmons. Not a 76, little typo. But, I'd put him as probably an 80 because he didn't do much in the company other than be part of the APA. Yeah. You already saw, but Jake the Snake Roberts. This man has been in a lot of WWE games and shown up a lot. No questions needed. He's a legend and I believe a Hall of Famer. Most of these people are Hall of Famers. Either they're Hall of Famers or they're gonna be Hall of Famers soon. Oh, that didn't. JBL. 1 world championship, Hall of Famer. Jim the Anvil Neidhart. He's also a Hall of Famer, but I don't know what he's really done in the company other than being a tag team. As one part of the Heart Foundation. Papa Shango. He hasn't really done much in WWE. I mean, he's a little creepy character, but like he didn't win any championships or anything. Hall of Famer Road Dogg of DX. He was also kind of overshadowed by the rest of DX, including X-Pac. He was just there in DX, I feel like. Roddy Piper, an 86. He's a legend. I believe he's a Hall of Famer. He was pretty charismatic in his time and beloved. R.I.P. Kevin Nash. That looks like a mugshot photo. But he's a multiple-time world champion. I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer, but he probably is. As probably one part of the NWO. No questions. RVD. I've been hearing rumors about him wanting to return to the company, which would be amazing. But he hasn't really done much. And in the past times, I believe he came WWE Championship. Won the WWE Championship once. But he's beloved, and he deserves to be up there with the best. Scott Hall. I couldn't find any pictures of him, so this is just Razor Ramon. A 91. R.I.P. my guy. He was a great in-ring wrestler and a very good person on the stick, aka the mic. Shawn Michaels. If you don't know who Shawn Michaels is, he's the GOAT. And he put on probably one of the best WWE matches of all time against The Undertaker. Twice. Kane. He was pretty good in the ring. In recent years, his past few matches, even though they were in 2018 and stuff, they fell flat. Everything since 2016 and forward, he hasn't done much. And Corporate King kind of sucked. Macho Man. Randy Savage. He's shown up in literally all the WWE games ever. Ever. He's such an icon, and everyone knows him if they've heard of WWE. Hopefully. Stone Cold Steve Austin. A 93. This man has been arguably put as one of the top 10 wrestlers in almost everyone's books of all time. He's so charismatic, and he's really good in it. Was really good in the ring. And he even came back for a few cameos as in recent years. I hate to add him, but obviously they're gonna add Hulk Hogan. He was an icon, he was a legend, but he sucked. In the ring and out of it. The Undertaker. Obviously, why would anyone not include The Undertaker? He's shown up in everything. Everything. He's the most well-known WWE superstar other than The Rock and John Cena. Andre the Giant. No questions needed. He's been showing up in a lot of WWE games, and they have an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale. Why would they get rid of them? Big Boss Man, 86. I can't do commentary on all these people because I haven't seen most of their in-ring work. Bret Hart. The greatest. One of the greatest of all time. One of the greatest wrestlers. He was retired because of Goldberg, but up to then, he won multiple world championships and is well known by many. Also a Hall of Famer. British Bulldog. I'm not sure if he's in the Hall of Fame, but he probably is. But he's been showing up in... He showed up in Last Game. I just want to move on. This has been a long video. The Rock. Don't question it. The Rock is the most well-known WWE superstar of all time. And he made it in Hollywood too, so if you don't know him, you're probably living under a rock, or you're 3 years old. Eddie Guerrero, a 91. Eddie Guerrero has been showing up in a lot of WWE games, and he's so good in the ring. At the same time, he's a Ben World Champion a few times. Obviously, we have to add Goldberg because Goldberg is still in the company and he's pretty well known, infamous, and yeah. Hurricane. He showed up in Last Game as a DLC. I feel like they're not gonna ditch him and they're gonna add him back as a regular biz character. Yeah, he's pretty decently well known. Umaga. Also a DLC in Last Game. So was this man, Vader. I feel like he's gonna be a 91 because he was pretty pushed. Same with Yokozuna, who won a few World Championships and Royal Rumble, I think. Finally, for the legend section, Mick Foley. I don't know if it's gonna be Cactus Jack, Dude Love, or regular Mick Foley, or Mankind. You never know. And the last section, DLC. Bad Bunny. He didn't show up in last game, but he made it into the Royal Rumble 2022, and he put on a pretty good match in WrestleMania 37. Yep. Zion Quinn. I'm kind of skeptical about this. I mean, he's been in the company since like the beginning of NXT 2.0, and he's been decently positioned on WWE TV. But I feel like he's gonna be like the A kid of this DLC and just slide his way in. VR. He hasn't done like anything. He's not that great in the ring either, but they're probably gonna include him in the game. Nathan Frazier. I don't know if I spelled his name right, but watch his matches. This man is a star. World Championship material right here. I think he's going to be a DLC character just because he hasn't been in the company for very long. He came in like the middle of this year, but I feel like he should. He came in a few months ago, but he put on really good matches with Axiom. So, yep. Trick Williams. Kind of the sidekick of Carmelo Hayes, and he's been prominently shown on NXT. Most of these people are NXT, so I feel like just name it NXT Pack. Wade Barrett. This one's questionable, but they haven't shown him or had him in a WWE game in a while now. And he was a pretty good wrestler, and I feel like they should include his 2014 era-ish version. Nope. Ooh. My bad. Pat McAfee. He's been showing up in a few matches. He faced Baron Corbin at, SummerSlam, I think? Something like that. He also faced Austin Theory, and NXT he versus Adam Cole was very good. I'm completely blanking out, but next, I'm skeptical about this. I don't know if it's gonna be in the main game or if it's gonna be like deluxe edition. You get the Fiend, but if you're gonna include Bray Wyatt, you can't not include the Fiend. Yeah, that's completely all I got. Just comment down below what people I missed or who you think should not be included on this list. I'm exhausted. If you went through that whole video, thank you. Yep, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.